Okay, this is attempt number 2 at making this video. To keep it short and sweet, time limits below. I keep going long, it's extremely annoying, I need more time. I will probably never get more time because I will probably never get to that subscriber number, but you know, we can always dream about these things, can't we? We can always keep that ambition alive, and I will certainly keep that ambition alive within me to get to the number of subscribers where I can go longer than I usually am, but we will just have to work with 11 minutes for the time being. I will be doing this video talking about the promotion that I now love, about their tag teams, and then later in the week I'll probably do a video talking about the draft / the brand extension in the WWE, and you know, my general thoughts on where it stands right now. But getting straight into this, I wanted to talk about the CHIKARA tag teams because you know, this is the staple of this promotion. I talked about the BDK in my last video, so I won't mention them here. Obviously I won't be talking about every tag team because of the time constraints, but I will get to talk about, I'm going to try and fit in 7 because I do want to mention something about each of these guys, these teams, because I do, I want to just kind of talk about the things that I like now, and I definitely like what I was seeing when I was watching these shows, so let's get straight into it. The tag team that seemed to be pushed kind of recently, I'm guessing that they were kind of built up more than I saw them, built up on the Season 8 shows that I have not seen. The Order of the Neo-Solar Temple, I'm guessing they were built up more than what I have seen, but they seem to be a kind of a new push. These guys have a good setup going. Ultramantis Black seems to be very well suited to the role that he's been given, which is, you know, being the leader of this order, which, you know, Order by its definition is an exclusive club, and an exclusive club needs a charismatic leader, and that's what Ultramantis is. He has a voice and a promo style that completely complements the position he's been given. Crossbones, you know, I talked about Tursus in my last video, and I talked about how he seems to be very well suited and very well used in the BDK. He's not in there any longer than he needs to be, and he actually does have some decent moves behind him. He actually has some moves that will contort his body in ways you would not expect someone of his size to have to go through. Crossbones seems to be more of a liability in the ring. His size seems to be more conspicuous when he's in there, but that's a small thing, you know. Ultramantis Black, while not a great wrestler, pretty much carries this team with his good promos. It'll be interesting to see where the Delirious thing goes. I was kind of, you know, I've read up a bit about how Delirious got into the tag team, or the stable I should say, and you know how he was lured in basically, and now he seems to be lured away again. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes, and you know what comes of that. They've kind of not mentioned it for a while, so I hope they can actually go back to that and explain it, because it was intriguing when I saw it. It was kind of intriguing. I do want to see where they go with it, but that's all we have to say on the Neo-Solar Temple. The Super Smash Brothers, these guys seem to be pretty much decent, average to good at pretty much everything, at every department I can think of. They're pretty much solid to decent in every department. They seem to, you know, their gimmick seems to be something that could be expanded upon and made a bit more fun, because they do have a fun gimmick. They do have an interesting gimmick that has a bit of a different possibilities open to it, but it really isn't being realized. You know, maybe they have done some good stuff in the past that I have not yet seen, because these are completely first impressions. You know, first impressions are often entirely wrong, but they are still worth mentioning while we still have these first impressions, so that's why I'm doing this video. But my first impressions on these guys, you know, they've had some good matches, they've had some good singles matches as well. Their matches with Tim Donst, even though, you know, being a Tim Donst mark now, I was pretty much focusing on that guy, but Player Uno and Player Dos definitely had good matches with him. They're definitely not ruining anything that's going on right now. Sounds like they were the only, what you would call, transitional Campeones de Parejas, if there is such a thing at CHIKARA, because they only held the title for a month, which would kind of reaffirm my belief that these guys are just basically, you know, they're good at what they do, but they have limitations, and that's what I have to say about that. 3.0, I would like someone to explain this gimmick to me, because I was kind of making guesses on what was going on, but I was never really sure, because I probably haven't seen the build up to the promo that they cut, in which I'm guessing they were both the Bad Boys and 2.0, and then when they had to have the match, the Bad Boys versus 2.0, they had to reveal themselves as what they were and basically rechristen themselves as 3.0, which was, you know, interesting. Their promo skills didn't seem to be quite very appealing, I would say. They kind of seemed pretty much average at what they were doing, and then it got improved when F.I.S.T came along, and I will talk about F.I.S.T later on, but they seem to be pretty average, pretty, I would say, unappealing. But, you know, again, something that I need to be better informed about. I would actually like to someone to explain what 3.0 were doing, to get them to this point, below in the comments. If someone would be so kind as to do that, that would be appreciated, because I do want to better understand what they were doing and how they got to the point they are now, where I guess, you know, they were in an identity crisis, I guess, in which they were trying to find the identity that would best benefit them and best give them wins, which is my assumption on what was going on, but I would like some concrete information, so that would be appreciated. The Throwbacks, these guys are fun. These guys have a fun gimmick that I guess works because, you know, they have a fan base, they have some crowd reactions. You know, I don't see them as anything more of an entertaining filler mid-card act. Doesn't seem like there'll be anything more than that ever. But I definitely enjoyed what I was seeing with them, but I wouldn't put them anywhere further on the card. Just an entertaining filler mid-card act that I can appreciate but never see as anything more than that. You know, maybe people disagree, maybe people think they have the crowd reactions to go further. I personally think that they're just fine where they are and shouldn't go any further, but that's just me. You know, pretty solid stuff. F.I.S.T, you know, I talked about them just a bit before. I like these guys. I especially think that Grand Akuma is very intriguing. You know, his promo style got to me. His promo style, it sounded like he was kind of like a depressed, I'm going to say maniac, even though that's not really the right word to use. Just kind of feel like he was a bit mysterious and knew something that we didn't, and he was so sure of himself and so confident in what he was saying that you kind of needed to listen to him, and you kind of needed to really consider what he was saying as being something to remember and something to consider. And that's what I like. It kind of felt like he would not be forgotten easily after you listen to him talk. So, you know, a Grand Akuma intrigued me. Icarus seems to be kind of the weaker half. Again, a first impression, and they will probably and maybe likely will change as time goes on. But that's my first impression on those guys. Pretty solid work in the ring. They do work pretty well together. But Grand Akuma has my attention, and those guys are pretty solid at what they do. The Osirian Portal. Really want to know why these guys are not on King of Trios in some capacity. Maybe there's no real partner they could have that would be anything more than a random addition. But these guys deserve to be on the card. These guys are my favorite CHIKARA tag team. I will say that right now, and let me explain why. These guys, more than any other tag team, have a perfect reason to do everything that they do, and everything that they do has a purpose, in my opinion. You know, a lot of the CHIKARA guys do the lucha style offense and the lucha style matches, which I guess is the staple of CHIKARA and really doesn't need a reason, I guess. But these guys definitely have that reason. Like, their gimmick gives them that reason. More than anyone else. You know, Ophidian is one of those guys that you could imagine being one of those cobras that just rises from the basket when the snake charmer is playing on the flute, and he's really like a flexible kind of guy, which would give him perfect reason to do all those lucha moves and do all those crazy shit, which is why I like these guys. I actually like to watch them work. You know, they definitely should turn Rudo, I think. I know that they were Rudo at one stage before, and I would like to actually see what they were doing when they were Rudo, because right now they're pretty much just a dance act, and they could definitely be more than that. The Egyptian thing has so many possibilities behind it. They could definitely go further, and I do want to see what they were doing when they were Rudo. You know, Amasa seems kind of generic in his speaking, but Ophidian is very good. He has a voice that perfectly complements the gimmick and everything about it. So those guys are my favorite tag team. I really hope that they get to do more stuff than they currently are, and that's pretty much all I have to say about those guys. The Colony, you know, I would probably, you know, I can probably tell that they are the positioned as the main tag team force in CHIKARA, and I can see why. The ant gimmick, you know, ants are small but smart creatures, and these guys, that allows these guys to be positioned as the underdogs pretty much, you know, pretty easily and pretty much any time that it is needed. They are good though. They do have some good tag team offense going for them, and they do have, you know, it's very likable. You know, you can't help but like these guys. You know, the ant does allow them to be positioned as the underdog as often as you would like, and I can understand why they are, although not my favorite tag team, they deserve the position that they have, and definitely something that I don't mind seeing. So this is actually, I have a minute to spare, but so that's good to see. This is the end of this video. Alright, peace.